What's your name?
Sergio.
Sergio, how did you come to the Universal Church?
I arrived here with my life completely destroyed. 30 years in addiction. Involved in drug trafficking. To be honest, I would try the drugs that came in. I knew which ones were pure and which ones were mixed. So I had free access to cocaine. I would snort pure cocaine. I don't even have any cartilage left in my nose. I couldn't find deliverance. And then I was challenged by an assistant. He said to me, "My friend, if you come to church this Sunday, I'll stop being an assistant if you don't leave there free from this addiction." And I looked at him and said, "What do you mean? It's been 30 years. I think you're joking with me. I've tried to stop for a week, a month, and I can't. And when I go back, I stay out on the streets for a whole week straight, without going home, without doing anything. But I came. I arrived here and I said, 'My God, if this is real, I want it to happen in my life.' I walked down those stairs, and from that moment, I didn't see anything else. I only realized when I was here at the altar. When I got back home, things started to change. I arrived home and it was so bright that I said, 'My God, have they changed the light bulbs in my house?' Then I went on with my life. That was on the 22nd of February, and on the 10th of March, I was baptized in water. Because the pastor here said, 'If you remain and obey, you will overcome.' So I said, then it's the Holy Spirit that I want. After 22 days in the church, in my mind I thought, God is the owner of time. If He's the owner of time, then time doesn't exist for Him. I'm certain that if I sought Him, because my thirst was to receive the Holy Spirit, I didn't prioritize my wife coming back, or my children coming back. I didn't focus on any of that. This was my only focus. That was all I would think about. I was working in the afternoon, around 2 p.m., and I went to work. When I got there, a relative was waiting for me. He said, "Man, I bet you won't even last a month before you go back to trafficking and doing drugs again. Do you want to bet on it?" I looked at him and stayed quiet. He left. I was working as a security guard at a supermarket. It was under renovation. I went into the toilet. I looked into the bowl and said, "My God, I'm worse than this. I'm worse than this. You chose me. It was you who chose me. I didn't choose you because I had no condition to choose anything." When I came out of the toilet, the supervisor was outside and said to me, "From today, you don't work here anymore." Then I said,
For no reason?
"For no reason." I kept looking at him and he said, "There's already someone else to replace you." So I said, "All right." I had already been to church that morning and I thought, hold on, my God, now you will have to justify this. Because look at my situation. I'm not going to church because I like speaking to the pastor. I'm going to speak to you because you chose me. And I want the Holy Spirit to live inside me because I know that with the Holy Spirit, I will be able to advance. I will move forward. Bishop, when I arrived at the church, there weren't even 10 people there. And the pastor said, "Who wants the Holy Spirit? Those who want to receive the Holy Spirit, come to the front." Those 10 people went, and I went too. It was about half an hour of seeking God there before the altar. I didn't prioritize anything else. I just said, "My God, I need your Spirit, because if I don't have your Spirit, I won't overcome." Because the life I lived was a life where everything came easily. I know that without the Holy Spirit, I wouldn't overcome that. And then, Bishop, I felt something so deep inside me. I always say this, I was washed there. I was washed. I was washed. I was transformed in that place. When the prayer ended, the pastor came and asked me, "Do you know what happened to you?" I said, "I do. Today I have the Holy Spirit. Today I'll leave here and I will overcome." I left wanting to laugh, wanting to cry, wanting to tell everyone about Jesus. There's more, Bishop. I left the church and went home because I had no job anymore, no family, nothing. When I got home, who was waiting there for me? The electric company. To cut off my power, they cut my electricity. And I was left with nothing. I said, "My God, now it's just you and me." I didn't care about the electricity being cut off. I didn't care about anything. I even spoke about Jesus to the electricians that day. And I kept going. Later, people asked me, "How could it be? You've only been in church for 22 days and you've received the Holy Spirit. What about me? I've been here for 5 years. Are you crazy?" I said, "Look, whether it's 5 or 10 years doesn't matter. I know that I have Him. My Lord lives inside me." The same company that dismissed me called me back to work out of nowhere. They phoned me and said, "Come back. I need a security guard. And there's no one better than you." I went back. That relative now calls me every day. He has even asked me for forgiveness. My whole family, unfortunately, were involved in that same situation.
In
Drug trafficking. But
The
I
curse.
broke the curse. Today I have joy, happiness. Bishop, I met my wife here at the Holy Ground. By the end of this year, I'll be graduating from university with a logistics degree. I had no qualifications, nothing. My wife encouraged me. She already has degrees and she said, "If you're going to study, I'll study with you." She'll be graduating with me at the end of this year.
God bless you.